soundish, and it had a lot of technicality to it, and that's where they took their ideas from.
Oh yeah, I'm in a band that we took a long break like you guys did too. We quit in like '93, and we're back in business again too. But we totally used you guys as influence for sure. I
What was the
listen.
reason? What was the reason for you guys to quit then?
We just got. I had a kid and got. I had to get my shit together. You know, I had to get a good job and start making some real money. You know.
Right, because most of the guys that are fans, they don't realize that when you're in a band and you take your music seriously and you want to like make a living out of it, that's like hell of a job. I mean, that's nothing that you can like just like it's not an easy job to do. You have to, if you want to, pay your rent, just play music. It just doesn't cut it, especially living in the States. It's like maybe in Europe you can get yourself like how you call it, when you're like an unemployment money and stuff like that.
Yeah,
You
we
don't
were.
have that. Yeah, you don't have that shit over in the States, right?
No, we. I was pretty young when we started. I started back in '82, and really wasn't a lot of metal out that I cared for a lot. And then when Slayer put out some stuff, I started getting into all that. And then when you guys came out in the late '80s, I was totally digging it. I like everything Chronic Infection off one of the other albums. I mean, I love all your stuff, man.
That's good. It's like funny that you mentioned Slayer because we're supporting these guys like in Holland the 10th of July and the 12th.
Oh, awesome. Are you
Yeah,
guys?
so that's like a trip for us because like our first influence was Show No Mercy from Slayer. It was Seven Churches and like maybe before like the Possessed demos and early Death like Mantas. That's like the shit that we were like listening to, and amongst others some hardcore punk and stuff like that, and some grindcore. But Slayer was always like a big influence. I pretty much in every band really.
Oh yeah, yeah. We used to play some Possessed too. We used to do death metal and Seven Churches. We played.
That's awesome
We.
shit, dude.
I used to. I played with Exodus on Bonded by Blood, and I saw he had a Possessed shirt on, and I got a hold of Jeff Becerra through Gary Holt. So
For real?
yeah.
So what's your deal with Exodus?
We just warmed them up on Bonded by Blood tour way back in the '80s.
Okay,
They came to
okay.
St. Louis here, and we got to do a show with them and meet him when Paul was singing back before he passed away.
Yeah, yeah, Paul Bailoff. I mean, you can't. I mean, this guy he didn't have good timing, but he sure had a fucked up voice, man. Everybody loved that kid.
Yeah,
It's just like that was just awesome. Like Jeff Becerra. I mean, Jeff is still even in a wheelchair. This guy's like it's like one of the forefathers of the death metal voice. Even Martin Van Drunen, my old singer, used to fucking ramble on about this fucking kid. Like he's like the best death metal vocalist ever.
oh yeah, big time. I used to love listening to the Possessed and you guys all the way through all your albums. Test all the way Testimony of the Ancients. I loved was killer.
So that's awesome. So, but what do you think about the new album then?
I haven't got to hear it yet. I didn't even know it was out yet.
For real, dude, that's like sick. Really, that's sickening because the album is like about to come out like in July, right?
Yeah.
And then normally when I like do interviews, people have heard the album like a bunch of times already, so they can relate to what I'm saying. Now, if I tell you like, dude, it's the best thing Pestilence ever did, you'll be like, yeah, whatever, because you haven't heard the album, right?
Well, I've loved everything you put out all the way. You know the technical stuff. I even like the slower stuff. You know. So
Right. Well, you'll probably like the new album then as well. But Resurrection Macabre, right?
oh yeah, yeah.
Okay, that's cool. Well, you'll enjoy the new album as well. So we can like get a little bit more in depth on that one as well. I can give you some ideas on how that worked really.
Yeah, that's awesome. One of my favorite songs off Testimony of the Ancients was "Twisted Truth." I used to play that just as loud as it could go. Man, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
really,
Oh yeah.
really. What I really liked about Twisted Truth was like the hook. Because I always like hooks in like any type of music. If the hook catches you, and then you're hooked, and that's what it's all about. I mean, I don't necessarily because people have asked me so many times like what do I think about like the new death metal generation and about like the new bands coming out and what they portray and what they want to achieve and everything. I just feel like these guys are a little bit lost in this rat race on who's the fastest and who can like play the sickest riffs and like 20 or 30 riffs in a song, which for me is like, okay, that's like if you can do that, that's okay, right?
Oh
But
yeah.
that doesn't necessarily mean that you are like you're making good songs, which I think that's what's lacking with these youngsters right now. It's like they're lacking the hook, and they don't play the blast beat like the way it's supposed to be, because if you watch like a Derek Roddy video where they do the single foot blast, and like the new guy Morbid Angel, Tim Young, he's doing that as well. I mean, then I'm saying like, dude, you can play some good drums and stuff, but most of those guys, they just want to like go really really fast and don't think about the technique behind it, which I think that's a great loss in death metal or in metal in general.
Oh, big time. Yeah, just for our listeners that don't know, I'm talking right now with Patrick from Pestilence, one of
That's right,
the
man.
gods of death metal.
Yeah, that's right, dude. We have a Skype. We have a Skype understanding right now. It's going on for 7 minutes and 65 seconds, and it's real time. And I'm all the way in Holland and Europe, and I'm talking to Dean, man. So what's up, guys?
Hey, not a lot. Are you gonna maybe bring this to the States and do a little States touring?
Well, I wish I could do that. The thing is that, the last time that we came over to the States, some of you guys, might remember this, but the routing was like really bad, and the bands that like toured with us, like the opening bands, I mean, they've been touring like a lot. For example, some of these guys been touring for like more than 2 or 3 years straight, and so we didn't get too much crowd going on, and especially like local promoters, they didn't promote too well, I guess, because money's tight. Everybody's in recession, so we have to take that into consideration. But I've always loved America. I've always loved the States. I mean, I used to live there for like 7 months, 8 months. I used to live in Florida, so I'm a big fan of the States. It's like it's just like coming home. But it depresses me that when there's not too much promotion going on, that there's not too much happening. I mean, the States are so fucking big, so huge
Oh yeah.
that it almost seems like the East Coast and the West Coast are the really the places to go, because those shows were really packed. Like New York was packed, and LA was packed, and around those areas.
Yeah, here in St. Louis, there's a pretty big metal following. There's a lot of metal bands will stop in the middle of the country. We're right smack dab in the middle, and we get a big pit going. A lot of kids jumping off the stage and getting a big circle pit. So,
I say amen to that.
yeah, we just had Forbidden here last night. They're not really brutal or anything, but they're a killer band, and they got a nice pit going. We interviewed Craig LaCicero from Forbidden. It was a good time.
Right, that's awesome though. Awesome. So yeah, if there's like a legitimate, promoter out there that wants to promote us and wants to get us over there, we're willing to come over again to please the crowds, because that's what it's all about. It's like putting your point across, and playing these oldies and playing new songs to everybody, so everybody's has a good time. Um,
Yeah, it's nice to have
we're
it's nice to have that
we're
big
gonna
crowd,
yeah, yeah, definitely, and we're getting pretty close, because we're doing the 70,000 tons of metal
Awesome.
next year. So I think it's hitting off, from coast of Miami, I guess, something like that, going to the Cayman Islands, and some pretty big bands are going there. So we're really chuffed to do something like that. So anyway, so
That's that
again,
cruise, right? The cruise that with all the metal
yeah,
bands.
yeah, that's that cruise.
Yeah,
So
I might have to be on that, man. I'm seriously interested in going on something like that.
Well, Dean, if you are, make sure that you hang out with me because we're gonna have a great time. Let me tell you.
Yeah, I definitely will be looking at you guys, man. I would hear Pestilence live for the first time.
You know what's gonna happen on that fucking cruise is that we're gonna have a 2 times 45-minute show, and the first show is gonna be just the classic, just the oldies. Everything going from Malaya's to Testimony to Spheres, and then the second 45 set is going to be just like the newer stuff, so everybody can get acquainted to that as well. So we want to make sure that everybody gets spoiled.
Oh yeah, I'd be into both sets, man. I want to hear some of that new stuff, and I'm just live for the old stuff.
Awesome.
When I heard I was gonna get to interview you, I've been listening to it all week long, man. Just kicking it up in the truck.
Well, that's great to hear because you gotta be prepared, to ask me the questions and I'll give you the answers. That's what it's all about. I've always been very open about everything. And sometimes people, they think I'm like, maybe too open-minded, and that's when they call me an asshole and shit because I tell the truth. I'm not one of the, dude. I'm not one of those fucking artists or musicians that clogs things up and like says the stuff that you really want to hear, but then you didn't hear shit, because that's not what I'm all about. I really am here to tell you. So just give me the questions that you want to hear, and I'll answer them.
That's awesome. Did you guys do any member changes on the new album?
Yeah, after Resurrection Macabre, which is our big comeback, whatever. That album was recorded with Tony Choi on bass, who did previously did the Testimony of the Ancients album, and I had this new kid, this drummer from Darkane, Peter Wildoer. I guess some people heard of this guy. He's more like a thrash drummer, and he recently did like this whole thing to become a member of this band who got rid of their drummer, and then Paul, that Mancini guy, he won. You know what I'm talking about?
No, I sure don't.
Mike Mancini?
No, I've never heard that name. I'm sure I've heard of his band before.
Right. Anyways, so he was in the band, and we did a good comeback. Anyways, for this new album, I recorded it with my old bass player who played the bass for Spheres, Jeroen Paul Tesling. He's also the bass player for Obscura. You might know this band.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so he's the bass player for that band as well. And of course Patrick Lutewijk on guitar, and I have this new drummer who's 23 years old, Juma van Ekelen. And this guy is just like amazing, and he's like, he's like devastating. He's like brutalizing everybody, that I've ever worked with, because he's such a great drummer, so it's like, it's just awesome. It just like came back to me. The drummer that, was on Resurrection Macabre, did Dream Theater, the audition for Dream Theater.
Yeah, that's,
I think
I've heard
maybe
we've heard of Dream Theater in the States a lot. Yeah, we don't play that really on the radio. We're a really extreme metal station, so we only play stuff like you guys and Death and.
Well, that is very good to know. That is very good to know. It was just an example of what what kind of people I'm working with. It's always like high class people that know their musical business, and that they know what it's all about. So the thing is that what I really think is very important for a band, and also for Pestilence, is that band feel. And with Resurrection Macabre, Tony Choi, he comes from Miami. Peter Wildoer comes from Sweden, so I got to fly these guys in. And I never had a band feeling, but this new lineup is like all Dutch. So we can hang out, we can grab a beer and just like conversate and then have a good time. That's why the recordings for Doctrine, our new album, just like went so smooth, because everybody's on the same page, and it just doesn't cost me that much money to fly everybody in.
Yeah, big time. Where did you record this new album?
The album was recorded in Germany, near Landshut, And have you guys ever heard about this band called Triptychon?
I've heard the name, yeah.
Okay, well that's old Hellhammer, Celtic Frost.
Oh yeah.
Okay, well the guitar player
T
for
Tom Warrior,
Triptychon,
right? Tom Warrior
just
is Celtic Frost, right?
yeah. Tom Warrior is the main guy, and in Triptychon the other guitar player is V Centura, which is well Victor Bullock, and he was the engineer for the new Pestilence album Doctrine.
Awesome.
So yeah, that's just awesome. You know, this guy's got a huge history and he knows his shit. You know, so we recorded Doctrine with him, and it's too bad that you haven't heard the album yet because it's like one of the best death metal productions ever.
Yeah,
I mean
I'm really looking forward
that's
to
like,
it.
that's an understatement, really, because most of the people that have heard the album think it's the best production ever because everything is crystal clear, and especially because we are using the eight-string guitar now, like bands like Meshuggah, Fear Factory, and Divine Heresy. You know, those bands use the eight-string as well. So it's a pleasure to work with Victor Bullock, who's the guitar player for Triptychon. You know, to do something like this because it just sounds awesome.
Yeah, our band used to do chemotherapy for a cover track. I don't know how many bands play Pestilence for covers. But
Well,
we,
you know, when sometimes when I feel bold, I go on the internet and then I go on YouTube and then I type in Pestilence. But you know, there's more other bands that play like the Wings of Pestilence and other types of stuff. So you know, I mean, we're still pretty underground.
yeah, well, I've always liked the really talented underground stuff. I don't really like, the guys that just ridey and bark and stuff. You guys really kick some ass and were talented and do killer riffs, and I've been a fan for years. I can't believe I wouldn't have imagined 20 years ago that I'd be actually talking to you on the phone, This is awesome.
Well, same here because I didn't know that I was gonna like be back in the ball game like after 15 or 20 years and talking to you right now because you have to understand that like in a personal on a personal level, everybody's life like you said, you got a kid. I'm married. I got two kids, and my life has changed so much. And finally, when I settled down, I got a chance again, to talk to people, with record labels and stuff like that, that like kind of, persuaded me to, to record another Pestilence album, and then to have, people like yourself and other fans telling me that, Pestilence is great, and Spheres is a cult album and blah blah blah. That makes me feel really good about my efforts in the past because that's what it's all about. It's all about recognition and people are like they still memorize you, still people recognize you. Hey, that's Patrick O'Malley, because I thought that I was like already dead and forgotten, really.
Oh no, we play you every week here on our radio station, and the kids just eat it up. I mean, you've got fans my age. I'm 46, and you've got kids all the way 17, 18 that are listening to your stuff from all the way back in the day here.
Oh, that is so awesome. You're 46, man. You're an old fucking geezer.
Yeah.
I'm 43, and I'm an old fart as well. So, I can really relate to what you're saying, and it's so good that you still relate to those bands that are like have been there from the beginning. Because I still love my Death, I still love my Possessed, I still love my all those bands that really started back in the days when in Florida, when we were there to record Testimony of the Ancients, we used to go to the rehearsal room of Morbid Angel and hang out there at the warehouse. Remember?
Oh yeah.
And stuff. I mean, stuff like that. That's just like it's like crazy. Just to be like a part of history is just amazing.
Yeah, we play on we've got another station, Metal Assault Radio, and this is my station, Skull Records Radio, and we play you on both all day long, and people just eat it up. I mean, really one of the top 3 bands that we play on here. I mean, we don't even play anything like Metallica or anything is like too wimpy for us. We play the brutal stuff, and you guys are totally in the top.
Well, that is awesome to hear. I want to hear who's like a 2 and 3 then, you know?
Oh, I mean, we play everything from the new stuff like Skinless and Man Must Die, all the way to a ton of Chuck Schuldiner. We do a lot of Death, the older Exodus. I mean, anything that classic thrash, classic death metal. That's basically what we put on here.
Well, you know, I have to tell you, Dean. I mean, that is just like awesome to hear that there's like still people representing the old school thrash and death metal, because people need to realize that, you know, 83, 84, and 86, when we, you know, started like, you know, be really serious about the music. That's when it's all happened. That's when it's like we're like the forefathers of this genre, you know.
Oh,
You know, people have to understand that Chuck Schuldiner is like, you know, he's like the forefather of death metal. You know, same as Possessed. I mean, this guy's been there around, and you know, even if Larry Lalonde is playing other stuff, you know, whatever, it doesn't matter. They were there from the beginning, and that's all that counts. That's all what really matters, is that we set like a movement, like the Beatles set the rock and roll movement.
oh,
You know, it's like,
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
dude, you know, yeah, it's like, you know your history, and that's what's wrong with most of those new kids, is that they don't know their history. You know, just go to school, learn the riffs, and learn how to play the, you know, proper guitar, proper drums and bass, and just go for it.
Yeah, to show you how old I am, I actually back in the day, I guess it was early '80s, we were playing the Possessed stuff off of their demo, and I had to call. I got Jeff Becerra's number from Gary Holt and called him, and he gave me the lyrics because I couldn't understand what he was saying. He wrote it down for me out of his school notebook. He was still in school when I was learning their riffs. They weren't even signed to Combat yet.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's like so awesome that this guy's still in high school and like, you know, writing you the lyrics because you can't understand it. You know, that's just like awesome. That's like, you know, that's just like a fairy tale to me. That is just like, that is death metal history right there.
Yeah, he was really nice to us. He thought St. Louis, he goes, "You guys just have cows in St. Louis, don't you?" I said, "No, there's metalheads in here. We're playing your cover songs, you know." And then they got signed to Combat and put out that Seven Churches, and man, that sounded really good for the time it came out.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, it's still one of my all-time favorites. It's just like, I mean, it's not like, like technically, you know, what's going on right now, the best album, but it definitely had the charm. It had the the flavor of something that was refreshing at that point. And it doesn't matter if the drumming is like a little bit off. You know, like my drummer Marco Fota was off all the time, but that makes it just like, it gives it the flair, you know. And that's what it's all about. It's all about uh, true emotion and feelings, and about people like enjoying those.
Oh yeah, I mean that he was really cool to us on the phone, and I never got to meet him, but spoke with him plenty of times on the phone, and he freaked out that we were even playing covers off their demo. I've got your guys' demo. I've got Slayer's demos, so I've still got them
Well,
today.
do you know that at one of those Possessed shows that, you know, Jeff, of course, he was there, and he said that Pestilence, he loves Pestilence. So for me, that's like a great honor when a guy like that says that. You know, you know, I'm humble and shit. You know,
Oh,
so
big
that's
time.
another thing. It's like you have to be humble all the time. And you know, I mean, I like my Cynic. You know, like the old demos. You know, I mean, I like my Atheist. You know,
Yeah.
I like my Cryptic Slaughter. I like my Septic Death. I like my old Napalm Death. You know, I mean, I grew up with music that now is considered to be like history, but then they were there from the beginning, and now it's like just like a little piece, just a little piece of the puzzle, and most of those guys don't even know what the fuck you're talking about anymore, and that makes me feel very old. And then I'm thinking, dude, and then I'm thinking like, okay, you know, and so when somebody tells me, remember the Beatles and the Who, and then people will be like, who? What the fuck are you talking about already? But that is just like, a part of history. And I see really music. I see it as a picture. And when you look at a picture, you really know at that point and point in time what was going on. Maybe you were at a party having that crazy fucked up hair, and you're like, dude, that was me when I was 16. What the fuck's up already? But yeah, but that's what it's all about. That's just the truth about life, I guess, about living.
Yeah,
You
there's a
know?
book out called Glorious Times. I don't know if you've seen it, but if you maybe Google it and try to find it, they've got all kinds of it's all pictures and stuff about the early thrash metal that started off. You Guys, Possessed, Old Slayer, Exodus. It's a killer book, and those guys have a show on one of my other stations. And
Wow, that is awesome.
yeah,
That's awesome to hear.
yeah, it's called Glorious Times, and it's a hardcover book, and they really put some good articles in there and just let the kids know, from that era what was all going on. Really cool old pictures in there with all the spikes and the metal hair and
Yeah, yeah, that is so cool. Another thing is that you guys in the States have had like way more of a difficult time, coping and dealing with death metal and thrash metal than the kids in Europe, because the States are so much way more conservative, and for you it's like it's way more difficult to be a part of a group or like a community that is called metal or death metal, because people, you know, especially like in the States, it's all about Christianity. So, people that, they want to, hate, a band like Deicide, when over here in Europe, people just embrace Deicide for what it is. So, everybody in the States have to acknowledge that, Dean, that, what you do with Metal Assault or Skull Radio or whatever,
yeah,
that you guys are like, doing something for the youngsters, for the kids, like an outlet to get, rid of some aggression and stuff. Whereas, other governments implementation just have failed. You guys have always have to try to, you know, how can I say this? You always have to, a box. You always have to box a match to get the point across. Whereas in Europe, it's really more easy, to be like a metal fan. So, heads off to you guys that you are still doing this shit, because the States have always been, a lot, way more conservative than Europe, for example.
Yeah, just a year or two ago, we'd only have maybe 100 listeners at one point, and it's just built over 100 and something listeners a month, and we're over to 40,000 listener hours a month now. So we're really getting the word out.
Yeah, that really says enough about the mindset of the American listener. And American people have always been like free-minded, and I mean, I'm just telling you right now, don't get like, don't get too much into that doctrine that everybody tells you how to think, how to live. Metal is a way of living, and it's like, we're sane, we're normal people, man. We just love metal.
Oh yeah, big time. Yeah, I've got all kinds of people telling me, if I lighten it up and play a little bit, I might get a bigger crowd, and my crowd keeps growing, and I only play the brutal stuff. My thing when I do my Sunday show is I'm DJ Skully, and I don't give a fuck. So we get to cuss on our radio. With the FCC can't mess with us. We play whatever we want, uncensored.
I say DJ Skully.
So what's going on over there? You guys going to tour over that way, or?
Well, we have a couple of shows, coming up for us. Just like the weekend shows, the normal regular weekend shows that we got coming up. We have the 10th and the 12th of July. We're supporting Slayer, which is a big deal for us because like they've been a huge influence on us. Yeah, and after that, we're doing I guess some shows in Russia, like St. Petersburg. Going back to Finland, Iceland, and trying to go to Australia, New Zealand, maybe hit some Japan when the radiation is not too bad for us and shit.
Yeah, Japan's
After
a
that,
big
we're
metal
gonna,
fans over
dude,
there.
that's awesome. That's like let's grow like two more hands so I can like play two guitars at the same time and shit.
What?
Anyways,
What?
we're going to do the 70,000 tons of metal.
Yeah, when is
After
that?
that,
When is that cruise going on? So my listeners can get some tickets for that.
I think it's like somewhere around January. That is, like
Oh,
it's a 4-day cruise. Everybody can check it out on the internet. I think it's in January or beginning of February. And then after that, we're going on a South American tour for like a bunch of dates that we didn't go. We just did a like a South American tour, but we're going back. Now we're gonna do Brazil and Costa Rica and Mexico and stuff like that. So we're very close to the States. So I'm telling you right now, dude, Skully, you have to, tell those promoters to get Pestilence over to the States and do some shows, man.
oh, I definitely will. We'll be spreading the word about you. As soon as I get a copy of your new album, we'll be beating everybody over the head with it because we're already playing all your old stuff and the kids are digging it. So you've got
Very good. So
you got a
I'm
bunch
gonna
of
have to
fans.
kick some asses at Mascot, Records to get you that, copy so you can understand that the new Pestilence is even, more brutal and crazy than the older stuff. So keep on playing our stuff and thanks for for the support and big up and have some fun with your radio station. I hope that your listeners keep growing and growing and hope to come up with some new music for the next album even and coming over back again to the States.
Yeah, definitely. We'll be spreading the word for Pestilence. That's for sure. We're a big supporter of you guys. So
Thanks so much, Dean.
I appreciate you taking the time out today to call and be a part of our station and anything we can do for you guys. Anytime you're coming over this way or if you want anything promoted, we do it all for free here. We don't. Everything's for free. Commercials, I can run commercials for you. Whatever you'd like. It's all just to support the metal, man.
Well, that's just like awesome to hear, man. So, again, everybody, keep on supporting DJ Skully, Metal Soul, and Skull Records Radio. That's what it's all about, bro.
Thanks a million, man. I appreciate you calling in, and I look forward to meeting you on that cruise. I'm off work in January, so if that's when it is, I'll be there. I've heard about the
Dude,
cruise, but I didn't know you guys were on it, so I'll have to go now.
dude, man, there's a bunch of bands coming. But let me tell you, if you're coming, you're going to get the VIP treatment. I'll fucking take you out fucking to dinner. We'll have a blast, food, everything. Just tell me.
Sounds good. I guess after I stop the broadcast, you can give me your email or something like that, and I'll contact you, or I can contact you through the record company.
Definitely, bro. No problem.
All right. Thanks for coming on Skull Radio. I'll stop the broadcast.